What's up, everyone? Blue Zerker here, and today I'm feeling blue. Not as blue as normal, though, because my lighting is improving. I'm still waiting on a backlight, but I have two of these like photo studio style booths that my dad got me a couple years ago. I guess it's been about 4 or 5 years ago now. My minor was in film, and I was studying and doing stuff with that, and so he got me these as a Christmas present, I want to say. He tends to be really good at those. Just gift giving is definitely a talent that he has. Various things throughout the years. I feel bad because sometimes I go through these different hobbies and vacillate between my interests, but they always kind of work their way back around. These, for instance, I haven't used in years, and then suddenly I remembered I had them and that I could kind of do something with them, and I think it's helping the setup. I'm kind of gradually improving it over time, and I think that now I'm kind of pleased with how it looks. I want to improve the webcam. This is just like my built-in 2017 iMac camera, maybe a 2015. I don't even know what model it is. But yeah, hopefully, sometimes it does the little auto-adjusting things. But I think the tungsten on the right, which was a recommendation of a friend of mine, he's actually making a feature film right now. It's super freaking cool. Very proud of him. 2/3 of the way through production, looking and talking about editing. Hopefully I can go be an extra in one of the things. I did a script review with him. I got to read it when he was working on it, once he finished it, and kind of give my 2 cents and feedback, which is something I really enjoy doing. I think there's something about taking a story and trying to help it improve and make it better. I think it's kind of like that educator style thing that I like, where you help people improve. When it comes to improvement, I think a lot of people find themselves in situations where they no longer have an interest in improving. I was thinking about this with one of my associates who talked to me about transferring to another store because I had all these rules and expectations, and I was a little frustrated because I'm I care about you, and that I'm a leader here, and I want you to succeed, and I want you to do well. And if you go to another store, you're going to kind of get away with what you've always gotten away with, which means you're not going to improve any. I don't think there's much. There's this almost terminal degreeness to it, where I've reached the best I'm willing to be in a role. I'm not going to get any better at it, and I want to be able to do that. And if I'm around people that aren't okay with that, I'm going to go somewhere with a different standard. And while I think that can be valuable in certain respects, especially when you're being held to a ridiculous standard relative to what you're doing, I think that what I'm asking isn't too much, but maybe it is. Self-improvement is a hard task. It's hard to kind of confront and see the things that you're not very good at and work on improving at them, because it's hard. It's hard to see the weaknesses that you have in yourself. You can kind of find it if you really reflect and look down. And I think putting effort towards it is something that's incredibly admirable and something that we can always do. Again, I'm drawn to my dad, who has a way of saying things, and it's not with the correct tone, right? That we always talk about how you say things versus what you say. Obviously, word choice is very telling and important also. I think, very loquacious speakers know exactly the right word to encapsulate the right emotions, but it's oftentimes we pick words that are much more severe than maybe we intend, and if our intentions aren't being matched by the words that we're picking up, then the receiver gets hurt more than maybe they would in a different setting, or having a little bit more context. I was talking to that director friend about how to interact with people, and based on what you need from them, you have to kind of change it. They might be completely in the wrong, but if you still need them to show up and do their job, you can't just show up and be you've done completely wrong, especially when it's free help. Different contexts, different people take things different ways. Obviously, what works for some. My boss is someone who's a very strict type of person. I have high expectations, but I tend to be pretty lenient and understanding, especially if I see people trying. We mesh fine. Some things, I have no interest in doing the way they do them. Other things I think are ways that I can improve and be better myself about being a little more dictatorial is not the right word. I'm talking about word choice. I don't want to pick something so harsh, but a little more stern. Having a more consistent and stern look that it can be necessary for certain types of associates or people that I work with, whereas other people receive the more friendly, get to know you style a little bit better. And that's where I tend to do well when it comes to leadership, is the getting to know you, actually taking time to be concerned and listen to what's going on and people's problems, and knowing that, they have a life outside of work. I got some advice that was pretty It's just simple advice, but it's one of those things that you can reflect on by one of my really big bosses, and it was that no one cares as much as you do, right? So if I can have all these standards for the people around me or for myself, but if they're not as invested as I am in the business or in what they're doing or trying to improve, then that's not going to be reflected. It's not to say they don't care. They just don't care as much as I do because I get paid more or my livelihood is different. The things that I get out of the job and expect and need from this job are different than the things they're doing. Especially, it's harder for me to just walk away and go get another job in the exact same like restaurant chain at a different location because we're pretty numerous around town. I can't just walk out of being a manager of one and go to another and be the manager and just kick someone else out. Whereas when you have like a more open level field, it's easier to do it for certain types of positions. But yeah, I don't know. I think a lot about self-improvement. A lot of it has to do with like Nicomachean Ethics and like Aristotle and some of the things he talks about. He has some philosophies that I find really helpful. This idea of like achieving eudaimonia and like becoming a more well-rounded and better person who's more virtuous overall. And so I see the things that I need to improve on and I try to get better at them. That kind of goes with like the handwriting thing I was talking about. There's a part of me that knows that it's like a big weakness. Right? If I can't writtenly communicate as well as I can maybe through vocalization or through like creation or something. Like if I wrote something on a whiteboard and tried to show it to you, you'd probably be very well pressed. I talked to the bank lady today and she was like, I finally have like figured out your numbers. Like we were really confused about some of the night drops. She was like, night drops can be really bad, trying to interpret whatever I've written because we have these bags that are really silky. And so I write on them and my handwriting's already bad and the ink smears. And then when they get the deposits, they can't tell they really can't tell what number I've written. They just have an amount of cash and hopefully it's the right amount. But she was telling me, she's like, are you the one who normally writes these deposits? And I was like, yeah, I know, my handwriting's terrible. And she's like, I've learned it now. Your sixes look like twos, your twos look like sixes. And again, I need a little whiteboard or something right here that I can kind of draw on. That's my chewing straw. I used to have this habit of like chewing on straws long ago, and then it went to a worse habit of smoking, which I ended up quitting, and I don't vape or do any of that anymore. But recently I've had this like oral fixation for like gum or like straws, which is just funny because one of my really good friends knows about my relationships with like chewing on straws. And I have like a preference for chewing on straws quality between different like fast food restaurants. I don't frequent them nearly as much as I did when I was younger. I eat a lot healthier and try to not eat out at these kinds of places as much, but I had like a preferential place for like specific straw density or like how easily it was to like roll them and then keep their shape after I was like chewing on them. And I would just like do it like it was a piece of gum. I know that's like kind of gross, I guess, but that's just one of those little peculiarities about me that I've always had. And yeah, it's much better than smoking or vaping or even the gum, because I used to not do gum. And when I did braces, I never had a problem with not chewing any gum. And then my partner started doing gum because they quit vaping. And it was just like readily accessible. And then I started to have the habit. So now when I'm at work and I'm like stressed out, I kind of go outside for a gum break instead of doing any kind of like nicotine or anything like that. It just gives me a second to like breathe, hopefully not the gum and inhale the gum, but it gives me a second to like breathe, take a moment away from like the hecticness of everything going on. I keep it in my car so I can just kind of walk over there, throw a piece or two in. Always two, actually. I can't chew one piece of gum. I don't know if it's, a density thing, but I always chew two pieces of gum so that I can have a little bit more of like, again, density is probably not the right word, but that's the one I keep coming to. I just need like more to chew on. I just feel like one piece of gum isn't enough to really do what you want it to do. It's like not gummy enough. Anytime I have one piece of gum, I know the flavor's going to be gone super quick, and it kind of like shreds. I don't know if it's a gum quality thing either. I've been doing the Icebreaker little grape gum. I love grape flavored stuff. Purple's one of my favorite colors too, so it kind of works out. But like the Icebreaker grape have been so good, but they don't last very long, which is why I always double them up. And then I have this like thing where if I only do one piece of gum, it like eviscerates. When you chew it, it starts to like shred, if you chew it too much. So yeah, but anyway, that was like a whole 10 minutes on like gum chewing and other nonsense. But the lighting is getting better. I need to make some more improvements. I need to figure out the backlight. This is more just for show right now to give me something here. But yeah, I'm happy with how everything's coming along. Happy I can still talk some more. Thanks for watching. If you're watching, you're one of my double-digit subscribers. Woohoo, 10 subscribers. Like, comment, subscribe. You already have. Appreciate the 10 of you who might even watch this. I'm okay with 3 views and 10 subscribers. It's whatever. I'll pop up and hopefully progressively look better as time goes on. But anyway, thank you again for watching. I'll talk to you later. If you're feeling blue, I'm sorry to hear it. Let's work through it. Oh, that was the other thing I forgot to talk about. I'll bring it up next time. Yeah, we'll talk about it next time, tomorrow. See ya. Have a good night.